Hello, welcome back for part two. I want to show you a few more things with SPSS. So this is part two, very short video on graphical item analyses using nonparametric curves. Let me switch over to SPSS and see if I can show you some more of these windows. This is actually the full data file that we were looking at with all of the items. And so now I'm going to go to Graphs, Legacy dialog box, the scatter plot, simple scatter plot. Let's look at item 2. And we're going to put in the, right? No. So the item response is the y-axis, as we saw in part 1. The total score is on the x-axis, and we're going to put gender in an identifier for respondents identified as male or female. So this is all now set up, but now we're going to look at item 2. And I'm going to switch over. My SPSS has all these windows that pop up, so it always creates a bit of a burden. But and Zoom doesn't go well with it, so we're going to go a bit slowly here. So what I would do here is double click on the graph itself. So I double click on the graph. What will come up is this window here should come up. Let's see. All right. So let me make sure that you can see everything that I'm seeing. This is the window having the chart editor, etc. So you see the graph that's come up here. Now, what I do is I go to Elements. We can fit the overall if you want. We can ignore, you see the straight line one there, the graph is coming up here. We're going to do the low S instead, and I'll apply it. And this is the overall. And we have all the different options for the kernels. You can now see the difference when you apply the tri-weight. Small difference with item 2. And so we're going to go back to that. If we increase the coverage, in essence the band, let's increase it to 95. So actually it's almost as if it's fitting one line across, but it's fitting a low S line. And look at that. It's actually hasn't changed all that much there. I'm hoping you can see it. If we go down to 50, there'll be a bit more jaggedness, you see, because of the bands that's sort of almost like a bandwidth. You can also see it with this tri-weight as well. There's not a huge change in the tri-weight, but you can see that there is some bumpiness in here. And again, if we trade this to a 90, you'll see it smooths it out a little bit there. Probably over smoothing, to be honest. There's a bias variance trade-off here. That's well known. Great. That, and then we would close that. If we go back to the original window, and that's what it looks like here. Let's start again, though, with another graph, right? Again, with the same data. We're going to do a legacy graph. Scatter plot. I hope it can be seen. Simple scatter plot there to find it. I'm going to run it again. Now I'm going to double click on this. And if all goes well, I should be able to follow it over. There we go. We go to Elements. Now I'm going to fit it, not for the total, which would ignore whether it's male or female, but for the subgroups. And again, I do the low S. I apply it. And look at that. That's what we're talking about. Even with item 2, which is during the past week, I did not feel like eating. You can see a very large difference in here. We can adjust the kernel to a tri-weight. And we can see the impact on that. That's a lot more fuzzy here. That's a little bit in that area there. Let's see if we can. So if we brought the, yeah, you see it's still not a terribly clean plot through there. Let's bring that back up to 50%. And let's use the tri-weight. And you can see that it's sort of, there's still bumpiness in there, but it's quite nice looking. You've seen a constant message. The Gaussian kernel is very common. But look at that. Now you can see all sorts of jagged parts. But look at this one. It's now flat. See, the Gaussian kernel is kind of like a, well, it's assuming the sort of normality of these points. I don't think it really works with this kind of data that we have right now. I think I would either use this kernel here, which actually is a pretty good one, or maybe the tri-weight kernel, one of those in that way. And you can see that happening. And it's a fairly nice tool like that in SPSS. Then you would close this. Then we go back to the graph, and there it is. You can export it, edit it, export it out to, there's actually a host of different options that are there for the exporting. You can copy and paste. There's various. You can edit content in a separate window, etc., to work on the formatting. Very interesting. I just wanted to show a bit more detail on how to run these scatter diagrams in SPSS with all the windows. Take care.